Hello everyone, Dr. Kirstie Griffiths here. Today I'm hopping on here to tell you the number one reason why your chiropractic treatments are not working for you. The thing that is missing is movement. So even if you come in for an appointment once a week and that appointment is 15 minutes, if you are spending 40 to 50 hours of the week doing something that is triggering that pain, it's very difficult to undo that with one chiropractic treatment. So if you're sitting at a desk for 40 hours a week in this kind of a position, typing away, we need to find other ways to build movement into your routine. This was something I started noticing quite a bit with my patients, that the people that had the most successful recoveries were people who were combining the hands-on treatment that we were doing in the clinic, plus the active piece and lifestyle changes that they were making when I was not in their presence. So this is something that I started to notice pretty early on, and I was recommending to people that they try coming to some of the yoga classes that I was teaching. I was teaching in a couple large gyms at the time, and although people were interested in the idea of this, there were two camps that people fell into. There was one group of people who had not tried yoga in the past, they had not tried group fitness, and they were not interested in going to a gym, and I'll dive into that in just a moment. And there was another group of people who had tried it in the past and actually found that exercise tends to make their pain worse. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why that might be the case when we know that exercise and movement is one of the best things that you can be doing for your recovery. So starting with my people who had not been to a gym or a yoga studio before, there were some very common objections that we were facing there. So for some people, it was the financial piece. They were not interested in paying for an annual gym or studio membership. It was outside of their means. For other people, it was the intimidation. So when I was teaching at the University of Guelph, sometimes I had upwards of 70 people in the class. For lots of people, the idea of going into a class where there are 70 people and you've never tried this before, that is not always the most welcoming environment for people. The other thing I was hearing a lot of is, I don't want to exercise because I'm nervous that it's going to make the pain worse. So this fear around moving with pain, not really understanding what's going to be good for it, but also what might make it feel worse. The other group of people that I was dealing with had in fact tried exercising in the past, and that's exactly what they were coming up against, was that the pain was making things feel worse. So there's three reasons why this might be happening. The first one is that the intensity or the level of impact that you're doing with your exercise might not be appropriate for where you're at right now. And it's not to say that you can never do these activities again. So if you're someone who likes to run or you're someone who likes to play team sports, those might be options down the road. But if those activities are too intense or too high risk for re-injury for what you're feeling today, then it might mean that we just need to choose different types of movement to support the recovery right now and then transition back to those other activities. The second thing that I was seeing a lot of is this idea that yoga is for flexible people and I'm not flexible, therefore I don't do yoga. This is actually a very common misconception. So you do not need to be flexible to do yoga. In fact, we practice yoga to become more flexible both in body and in mind. The flexibility component of the practice needs to be balanced with strength and also with mobility. So if the only thing we're focusing on is the stretching piece and there's no mindfulness around the breath work or being in the body or pairing that with strength and with mobility, then we're really missing out on a lot of the fundamental pieces of the yoga practice. And the third thing that I was seeing is that people are doing the wrong kinds of strengthening exercises. So if you're someone who prefers resistance training, you might be doing the wrong exercises that are actually making the back pain worse. A classic example of this is the classic sit-up. So if you're doing a full sit-up exercise, but you've either had a disc injury in the past or you're someone who's at high risk of developing a disc injury, this is not the perfect ab exercise for you because the amount of compression that's going through the spine when you repeatedly flex that spine forward to sit up is placing you at higher risk of having an injury. So there are other exercises that will be a better choice for you. A lot of the ones that I reference, McGill's Big Three, so you'll see those in a few different areas. Those are 3 core strengthening exercises that are safe for back pain because they keep your spine in a neutral position. So this is what I'm really passionate about, is building this bridge to connect people who are saying, yes, you should be doing exercise, your healthcare providers, your chiropractors, your doctors who are saying you should be doing exercise that's going to help with your back pain, but actually getting people to a place where they understand what type of exercise they should be doing and how they should be approaching that exercise. If you are interested in learning more, I've put together a handful of resources for you, including some specific videos, yoga practices that will all incorporate this theory and give you specific sequencing that will be safe and effective for your back pain. Give those a try and let me know what you think.